Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Good evening and welcome. It is Wednesday and you tuned in to 5.8G Alive, brought to you by Connections 50 Plus. My name is Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite. I am one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and with me as usual.
Hi everyone, good evening. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, first, this is the good old last week in June, but we have to first of all give a mighty shout out and thank you to all of you who participated in our Trini River Lime. Jennifer, it was the biggest of our events so far.
Yes, it was. It was really a fantastic experience on both sides. The experience of really coordinating such a large group and to seeing everything, and I'm using the word, evolve when we got there. You know, it was just beautiful every step of the way. You know, it is such a joy. You know, Terry-Ann, but the week before this, when we spoke about being joyful, you know, and it really is a joy to be among people where you're just seeing everybody smiling and there's a lot of laughter. So we definitely, there was joy, a lot of joy throughout that, you know, that event. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it really brought home the essence of being in this 5.8G cohort. You can set aside a day, be completely selfish about wanting to just relax and deal with yourself and come to a place, step away from everywhere, get into nature, whether you chose to just soak and float in the river and talk, meet new friends, whether you wanted to play games, whether you just decided to be a people watcher and look around, whether you wanted to just indulge, eat until you could eat no more, whatever you chose to do, it was just a relaxing, happy, fun-filled. You know, it's not high octane, high energy, but everyone just relaxed, happy vibes in is what I
And
call
it wasn't hot,
vibes
you
in.
know. I expected, I mean, thank God, we actually didn't have rain until we were ready to leave. But the day was so cool because, yes, we by the river, we surrounded by all the greenery, you know, the bamboo, the trees. It was just breeze, you know, you just wasn't feeling hot or uncomfortable. It was such a relaxing time. You know, and everybody mentioned that they were so relaxed and they felt so
Easy,
good, you know, coming out,
easy.
you know,
Leave the
coming out.
world
That was
behind.
important too.
Leave the world behind. No one walked with their worries or their troubles. And we
Yes.
know that there are lots of worries and troubles, but it is critical. I really do believe that it is critical for us on this 5.8G stage to, when we can't make the worries disappear, we have to make ourselves disappear from the worries a little bit and just get out, get around people that you don't know, but just go out, meet new people, meet new friends. And we had a great time doing that. And we are so happy that you, our Connections 50 Plus tribe, continue to trust Jennifer and I to deliver a
I was
really nice
about to say, they
experience for
listen to us
you.
about leaving the house and coming out and enjoy themselves. So thanks for listening to us and
Yes.
supporting us. You know.
You know, and Jennifer, so we have been, as we said, we're coming to the end of June. Exactly. This month,
Mhm.
this week is the end of June. And, it's a couple of days, and the first half of the year is
It's
done.
finished, yeah.
Done. 6 months done.
Mhm.
Radio stations have Christmas in July. So, you know it's going to happen when the pace starts. You hear that parang music, and then it's everybody goes, schools closed,
Mhm.
traffic is reduced, so you're moving faster on the streets. Who knows? You're going on holidays, you're doing this, you're doing that. The grandchildren coming by you, the children, if they are teachers, they're coming by you because they're
Yeah.
on holiday. And next thing we know, it's September and it's back to school. And then it's October and you're thinking about ham and turkey and Christmas. And if we don't check ourselves very, very carefully, the end of June could very well represent the end of the year. And
Oh, yes. Mhm.
we have been talking about transitions and joys and pathways to get there and so on. And, Jennifer, we have been talking about what word can encapsulate everything that we've been talking about to set us in the right direction, as they say, pivot. Let us pivot so that we proceed in a direction to ensure that our intentions that we probably established at the start of this year and last year and the year before and the year before. But those intentions and those goals really don't get lost in the hype and the hustle that
Mhm.
usually comes with the second half of the year. And we've come up with a word that we think really matches that. So let's step over on the other side of being in tune and we'll talk about that magic word. Okay? So, Jennifer, what is our magic word?
As the magic word is evolve. And that's the magic word. And as you said it, Tarian, this is the second half of the year. And this is the months that follow June, they're very active months. As you rightly said, from July, August is holiday period. It's the time where many of us take time out to go on vacation, to do things. I was thinking that, holidays don't mean much to me. And then I remember having I promised my granddaughter, you know, enroll her in a camp and I would, take the responsibility. So yes, July, August is a time very busy for us. And then from the time it's September, that's planning for the Christmas time. So we really need to start to check ourselves and say, okay, what did we, are we on track with our plans? Those goals we set, we love to set goals at the beginning of the year. But we also know that it's good to review this time of the year to see whether we're on track, if we're not on track, if we're not looking at those goals again, or how are we going to be moving forward? How are we evolving?
Yeah.
Because what we want to do is continue enjoying ourselves, continue doing the things that making us happy. So each month we want to achieve something. Each
Make some
month,
progress.
yeah. So if the month of July, August, you say, this month, I already decided on taking a vacation or relaxing or going to be with the children or the grands or whatever. We say, okay, what are we going to do in this month?
Yeah.
And then we move on again. And so I wouldn't say, I think I will take it month by month. I like that. Now I'm talking to you on it, I will take it month by month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is so often when we look at social media and we listen to self-improvement talks, very often the language I think the language is just not applicable to us. It isn't applicable to me because it all is anchored in that something wrong with you and you need to go 180 degrees in another direction
and get it fixed.
and fix it and change it. And to me, I think a lot of us, while where we are now is not perfect, we have a lot to be proud of. We have
Yeah,
a lot to
yeah.
be proud of, and we are not broken containers. We could continue our development, we could continue our growth, but you know the issue is gradual and it's positive, and it's going towards something that we desire. And we
Yeah.
reserve the right to change what that something is. What we desired a year ago, 10 years ago, when we look around and see what happened now, I don't want that anymore.
When you start to face reality, you say, you know what?
I can tell you one thing, I was a stiletto lady. I don't want to see a stiletto here. I'm not wearing
Yeah.
anything over 2 inches, and it must have a wedge or a platform.
Yep.
I have evolved in my sense of style. I have evolved in how I eat, how I look at money, how I look at how I spend my time. And we really do think that if we treat the 1st of July as the start of the second half of the year, we
Yeah.
can, hey, make new half-year resolutions to facilitate our evolution into becoming either actually becoming what we've envisioned ourselves to be or being a whole lot closer to it. So,
Karianne, what you said, what you are doing, I think is very important for us. So we're looking at evolving, but we are both different, everyone different. So you have to look at what aspect of your life you really want to focus on for this second half of the year. Because you may have achieved a lot, in the previous 6 months, achieved a lot. But there are certain aspects that you felt, yeah, I don't want to do more of, or not try again, because, and as I'm saying that, I was very, very gung-ho of learning pottery, because I said, when you say I learn pottery, I always looking to make something to sell, right? So I thought, all excited to do the pottery, and I did it as a goal and achieved that goal, and I said, I'll move forward. And when I'm looking back, moving on now for this second part of the year, I don't want to do that again. That too much work. I enjoyed it, but it was too much work. So I started to look at what other project I can do. So you really have to examine what you got, what you did for that first half, what goals you have achieved, what you want to maybe tweak a bit as you move forward. So you know, like what you want to keep and what you want to throw out, that sort of thing. And maybe even look at doing things differently. Try something new.
yeah.
But the main thing is to set up review your goals, review all the things you did for the year, and see what you want to move forward with and how you're going to do it differently. And that should add some excitement in your life. Because the new project I plan to do, I am all excited to start. So I know when we do that, it will add excitement to our lives.
Yeah. So as we go forward in this unfolding, so let's use the word our evolution, our unfolding. So I love the idea of unfolding. You think of a beautiful flower just opening up and unfolding. You think of butterflies emerging from the pupa. Anytime something new is going to happen or something is evolving, you have an unfolding. And we found 5 steps that we can talk about to help us to evolve faster. So, Jan, the first of these is understanding your patterns. And why is it so critical that we know what our patterns are if we are to ensure that we move forward and evolve?
You know, the patterns, and I say patterns and habits, you know, we really have to look at our habits because, Tarian, when we choose a goal that, let's say, we sleep in late. Some of us like to sleep in late. You know, we don't get up because we don't have that work schedule again. So we may get up 10, 11 o'clock. But if one of our goals, what we want to achieve, means that we have to get up 7 o'clock, we really have to check ourselves and see if this has been our pattern over the years and we want to do something different, which means that we have to change our pattern, then this is our consciousness we have to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so understanding your pattern, I think, is very critical in our evolution, because it means we have to make changes. And many of us, you know, they say we don't like to do anything that is new that we're not comfortable doing. So you have to almost, as we say, psych yourself up, change your way of thinking to really go at that new goal or new whatever it is, you know? So that would be, I look at that too in changing patterns.
I think that is one aspect of changing patterns. And I think another one that I think is more, it's the thing that prevents a lot of us is the very fact that many of us haven't realized that we are in a different stage of life and our patterns, because our friendship patterns, our alignment patterns, what we consider to be fun ways to spend time and not are still very much aligned to a second stage where we choose to go and why. So all those networking events and all those things where you probably need to have a new outfit for every single time because you have to show up in a certain way. You know, a lot of us bring those habits and patterns onto this stage, and we spend a lot of money, probably not as wisely. We spend a lot of money and we spend a lot of time being and doing what we don't need to be anymore. One thing I looked at on Friday is how many of us just sat in that river, letting the water just flow by us, just no anxiety, no nothing, no one thinking about what's the next thing to do, because a lot of us are uncomfortable with having nothing to do or uncomfortable resting. So sometimes if we have a pattern, a life pattern of busyness, always kowtowing to other people, facilitating other people and stuff like that, and now we realize we don't have to do that, probably our next step is something that we've always been passionate about, that we can do at a different pace. So the pace at which we feel we must operate is a dangerous pattern, I think, sometimes. And we really have to pay attention to those kinds of things.
Let me tell you all something. I was one of those who went, I can tell you when last I bathed in a river. Now I always say I grew up by a river. And I actually was able to sit, and they laugh at me. If we have the photo, we'll show you. Relaxing on the chair in that river. Wow. It was, I mean, it was the best. I haven't done that. Had to be over 40 years or something. But really to sit, relax, and just hang with others in that river. Wow.
Yeah.
So yes, Tarian, that was definitely changing pattern. Eh?
Yeah.
And you know what? I will do it again. Definitely if I get an opportunity. That is something I would want to continue doing actually,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
So very often when we look at what is our pattern, how do we relate to people? We find ourselves doing things because we've always done it, but we don't have to do it again. And
Yeah.
if you're doing what you did from the past, which brings us to our next step, Jennifer,
Which
redefine the
is
past.
your past. Yes. And I would say, when I say redesign, when you say for me or for us to redefine our past, we have to also look at where we are present. Meaning that, okay, to be able to relate to what was, to what is the present, it is important to understand why certain things happen. And I'm saying important to understand because we could fall into that sort of blame game or guilt, feel guilty. So you look back at your past and you may think that you have achieved that. You actually achieved certain things. You were happy, not that you were miserable. But somehow we tend to think we are not always satisfied with the end result, you know? And I would say if I have to redefine my past, I would not focus on the negative aspects of that, of what went before me. I would focus on all the positive that has happened because there are many, many positives, right? So I would focus on the positives and pull from that to help me move forward, to help me evolve. Because for that, it means I'm moving forward with a positive mindset. I'm not moving forward with guilt, feeling guilty. I should have done that. I know, gosh, I had an ex-boss. And actually, I had a discussion this weekend. I was into the conversation. And it was all about talking about the past, the negative. That person was just talking about the negative aspect from the school right through. But who didn't like her, all the negative, negative, negative. And as I'm talking here, I call and I say, oh gosh, but nothing, I didn't voice it, but I thought to myself, but nothing positive happened throughout your school days. And we're talking about senior days. We're talking about, not talking about, you're talking about before graduation and graduation time and that sort of thing. Nothing positive happened. So we tend to dwell a lot on the negatives that happen in our lives and not be happy with all the things, and they have. So if we dwell on all the positives that has happened and move forward with it, I think we're moving forward with a very positive mindset. So that redefining that past for me is not looking back with regret or looking back with a should have and a should have, but looking back with a lot of gratitude, for reaching where I am today.
Yeah.
So I'm taking that and saying, I'm here today. I'm moving forward. I have learned a lot from those years before. This is how I am moving forward now. And I want to take the positives with me. So that's my view on it.
I think that last part that you said is critical because we are where we are today because of everything that happened in the past, positive and negative.
Yeah.
Because how we survived the negative helped us to evolve into the person that we are. Whether it was being able to throw it off, whether it was you became a bitter, angry person, but whatever it is, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And I think, as you said, it's so important to understand the past, everything about the past, and understand that who you are now is the result, whether you've been bullied, whether somebody didn't like you, you evolved. You got over it. You succeeded anyway. You know, and sometimes I think we if we bury the negatives, we also bury the lessons we learned that allowed us to survive those negatives. And I think it's important, as you said, to not dwell on the negative, but recognize it and ask ourselves, but wait, if I went through poverty, bullying, I was ugly, I wasn't too bright, the parents were separate, somebody died, somebody get locked up, then what were the things that you learned and what were the elements around you that caused you to survive and thrive in spite of? You know,
Carry
to
on.
be who you are today.
It has some people. And they didn't have to dwell. They never left that thinking. They remain stuck with that feeling of they're not good enough or they're not. So it have, it have a saying that they'll learn nothing.
Well,
With
I
all
think
that
they
went
will
on,
go
they
forward
never
like
learned.
that. I think they will go forward like that.
Right. So my thing is, I am not. I'm okay. I figure the fact that, of course, you're aware of all the negative, but the fact that you're able, and for those who are able to move ahead with that, then my thinking for me, I am only taking up that aspect and move away from. I move. So okay, I dealt with that. I dealt with it already.
Yeah.
I'm not going back. I don't have to deal with it again. So for me to stay positive, because I don't need to go back there, I'm moving forward positive. I hear what you're saying, but I know it have some people, they ain't learning nothing.
Yeah.
Every time they think about it, they're angry.
Yeah. But I think
And
for us,
they're not going to take a chance or do anything anyway close to that situation where
yeah.
they felt hurt, you know.
And Jennifer, I think people who think like that, I will be straightforward and blunt. You will go into the future like that and you will not evolve. You will probably stay where you are, stagnant. But for those who want to
And make
go
other people
forward,
life miserable.
and they will be who they are. I mean, it takes all kinds to make the world. I don't fight
Yeah.
anybody who want to be stagnated where they are. I just say, all right, I see you. I acknowledge you. When I'm passing back here, if I pass back, I'll hail you out. That's my view of people like that. But I think
Yeah.
for us wanting to evolve and move forward, you know, our past, it comes with everything. And a lot of us, you know, Jennifer, we're afraid to really look at it and say, this is the role I played in that miserable part of my life. Because it's not always that the world was against you. Sometimes you did a lot to contribute to it or not make it as bad as it was. And I think now that we're on this third act stage, when we are redefining our past, we have to be honest and look at everything and see how it contributed positively or negatively to where we are now. And based on that honest reflection, we can decide how we're moving forward and what we keep in or what we not. So it's definitely not be stuck in the negative, which is the pity party your mom talked about, but
Yeah, and,
it
and,
is
and I guess
acknowledging
how
how
we
we
live
got
your
here.
life. My thing is, and this is how I live my life. Yes, we have the negatives, yes, we have, but I try my best as I go along to keep releasing baggage. So it is, I'm not overloaded. So as I evolve, I'm not feeling heavy.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling heavy. So,
which I think
but we
takes,
each have to, definitely, this is very important. However, we choose to do it depending on how much baggage we have, but redefining your past is very important. It's
yeah,
definitely is important to moving on to the stage we are at now. Yeah.
yeah. You know, and Jennifer, the thing about it is that very often we believe that we are what we were. And if we are what we were, we will be what we are. And I think that mindset is what keeps people away from what's the other step in evolving, which is acknowledging and understanding your purpose and your calling. Because I think if we don't objectively look at how did we get to where we are, what are those strengths that we drew on to pull us out of the bad times or to survive the bad times, and what are those things that we were so good at that helped us to accelerate, and what are the things that allowed us that became stumbling blocks. I think when we look at all of that, we can come to grips with what is our purpose. And I think if we understand our purpose, we can more easily find things that we can align ourselves with to go forward and evolve to what will really make us joyful and happy in the future.
Terry-Ann, on this stage, as we always deal with our cohort, our age group, you hear the saying is this, yeah, this stage, I can't change, This is how I am. This is how I have been for years. So I'm not going to change now. Which states, and yes, I don't even think it's a fee. I hear it so often. And unless we remove that thinking, we're not seeing the gifts that we have. Some of us, we have really, we have the gifts. And by thinking that, hey, we can't change, this is how we know it, this is how we have been, by doing that, by thinking like that, you really cannot you can't acknowledge your purpose. Because as far as you're concerned, this is it.
Well, then that's their purpose. And I suppose there are always those who will choose, I'm staying where I am. But there are two questions. Who am I and what am I supposed to do? And if what you're supposed to do is sit down and say, well, this is who I am and I've always been, then you reach where you reach. There's no evolution for you. So
I really believe acknowledging your purpose, to acknowledge your purpose, you said it here. We need to ask ourselves that question.
Yeah.
Really sit, reflect, and ask yourself your question. Who am I? And at one of the discussions we had, we also said to acknowledge your gifts, what you can do great, and think of what friends and family members, people who really care and love you, what they say to you, So they may say, oh, I love how you cook, I love how you dress, I love, and we tend, not all of us, we accept compliments very graciously. Sometimes we dismiss it, but to really acknowledge your purpose, we need to listen and reflect and say, oh yeah, I'm always being told or complimented by how I look, or by it could be, it don't have to be it don't have to be in terms of how you can cook or how you can dress, but how you may be very friendly to someone, how you're very helpful, these sort of things. And you can, in doing that and having that type of reflection, you would find your purpose and you would really be able to acknowledge your purpose. Because all of us, Terry, and I believe every single one of us here on this earth, we have a purpose.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not always, you may not always have been in a situation where people have complimented you or acknowledged what you did right. Yeah. And sometimes not sometimes, I think most times, we can reflect on ourselves and ask ourselves questions like, what am I happy doing? When do I feel calm? In what kinds of environments do I like myself? You know, and that's a question that we don't always ask ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
In what kinds of environments do I like me? And very often, when we look at the answers to those questions, we get a very clear sense of what we like. Because sometimes, Jennifer, I'm always, when people compliment you about something, definitely. But so many of us have been masking and fronting and putting
Mhm.
out an image that is really not in alignment with our heart. If that is you, if that is you, you're not going to evolve into a happy person by continuing to put out this front that is not
Yeah.
truly you, you know? So it is really important, in addition to listening to the feedback that you get from others, to ask yourself, what makes me happy? What
Yep.
do I like to do? What's the kind of environment I like to be in? What's the kind of conversations I like to hear? You know? And I think those kinds of reflective answers, as you were saying, helps you. And another thing is, purpose is not some big grand fireworks save the world kind of thing, you know. It is what are you gifted with, and you can go forward and do to contribute meaningfully to your own life and to
Yeah.
others. And that introspection about, you know, from what do I like? People don't give themselves permission to admit that I like this. I want this. I prefer this. You know, you're always in service of other people, so it's not nice and polite or ladylike to
Yeah.
give yourself any kind of pleasure. The next
Yeah.
thing that we have to do is linked to that. After you understand yourself and what makes you happy, you need to appreciate the people that are your people, the ones that are for you, the ones that
Show
have been
appreciation.
carrying you, who show up in your life and carry you forward. You know, the ones we tend to not see.
We have for those who don't compliment or feel they don't need to show that appreciation, we just think of ourselves. When it's done to us, we feel so good. You know, when we do, and you're not doing it, it's not that just going out there and doing it something to get that acknowledgement or that show of appreciation. But when it's done, you know, when someone appreciates what you have done, um, it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. It changes your mood. So if it changes our mood, think what it is. And they say that when you're out there, you compliment or you show appreciation, you also feel good, you know.
Yeah.
You feeling good and that person feels good because how it's received. You know, when you get that smile or that hug or however they wish to show that appreciation, it is a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation for both parties. And it helps with just building community, building friendship. And that's what we need. That sort of those people around us, people who we know they care about us and we care about them. So I really that appreciating your people. And as you said, not only just say thank you. It might could be a stranger, you know. So now you walk the street and I may get a compliment that you look and you just laugh. It's just, you know, tell you some nonsense, even to say, thanks, how you're going or something. But you just put a smile on your face because, you know, they mean well.
Yeah.
So showing that appreciation, I think, is very important with us evolving.
Yeah.
That is one of the critical areas too.
And Jennifer, I want to talk about something that is that is a sore point. And I think we can sometimes be very good at showing appreciation and acknowledging your people that carry you like up the career socially, you know, your friends, your social circles and stuff like that. But so many of us have broken families. And I'm not talking about where the family is broken because of violence. I'm not talking about extreme situations. I'm talking about pettiness. You know, when there is a cousin or a sibling or you know, we have friends that we used to call cousin, but they have no bloodline to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
That we just, for things that have happened so long ago, so long ago, and some or one instance in the middle of our lives, something happened, there was an argument and it has never been resolved. And there are people who are a part of our tribe, our crew. They have raised us. They were part of our childhood, of our teenage years, our formative years. And but we explore a lot how families break up because of property and legacy and money. But you know, one of the steps says to acknowledge your present and understand the past. And I think sometimes if we look at the people who have been a part of making us who we are, who we don't have good relationships with now. Sometimes, all right, it might be impossible to go and start any conversation with them. But I think we have to check ourselves and give appreciation to those people, even if it's true forgiveness for whatever was going on. Whatever was going on, we need to make sure we're not carrying it forward. We as you say, you have to know when to drop things. But I think I really think this point of appreciate your people, and your people is not something you can pick and choose and decide who's worthy of being you or not. They're the people who are part of your village, your tribe, who contributed to you being where you are today. And I think at this stage, a lot of us have to let go of some grudges with family. That's
And when you reach this age, and as you said, you're carrying
you
that
can't be
grudge
not talking to your
for
brother
years.
and your sister.
You know, I'm telling you, and sometimes when you really look back, there's some people can't even remember the exact situation why they wasn't talking. And sometimes it's because, you know, I like to use the saying because age and I grew up with my father always using some old saying. So I think I get that from it. You're drinking other people's medicine. For those within our age group, you understand that
Drinking
saying,
bitter bush for
which
other
is
people fever. That's it. Drinking bitter bush for other people fever.
Because from way back, it wasn't your business, you know, it wasn't your personal situation. But because it's your good friend who and you pick up for that friend, you support that friend in whatever thing. From childhood, some people say it from school. They will say, you know, since in school, so and so was whatever, you know, or the parents had some misunderstanding. So the parents then used to talk. So your mother will say, don't even look next door because whatever, you know, things like that. And we just grew up with that in some cases actually hate in our system for that person, whether it's family or not. So to release that, we have to, again, we always go back to reflect. And they say you redefine your past, you look back to see if, you know, that is what occurred then.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Terry, and if you can't remember, it means it was nonsense. Leave it alone. If you cannot remember why you stopped talking to that person, why you think, gosh, man, you know, and it's real. And, you know, it always saddened me when it's close sibling And sometimes I heard a story, you know, again, I would just listen. And when I listen, and I wouldn't comment when I feel it will create some sort of issues. But again, someone was chatting with me and saying, it was two siblings, and they don't speak. And I'm saying, boy, it's really hurt me in family situation. And all of us have it. So talking that I'm very well aware of it. But they were talking about these two sisters, and the reason they gave, and I say was interesting. The reason they gave is they felt one was treated better than the other. One got more opportunities because of all the different reasons the parents felt that they should be treated differently. And they're saying to me, there was always conflict with those two siblings growing up. And of course, eventually it led to them not speaking to each other. And, you know, when you hear these stories, you know, as you say, it's time to fix it. You wonder if
Big
there's
people
any
business.
fix there.
You are a child and it's big people business. Stay up.
Yeah. So sometimes we feel there is no fix, but it may require intervention. And we tend not to see it serious enough for intervention. But if that person, you know, we reach this stage, we have to talk about that. Dies before the other party will talk about, as you know, I understand, you know, I should have and I should done, you know, this sort of thing. So we have to be conscious of check ourselves, yes, and find out why we don't like this, really why you don't like this person. And I just jealousy, you know, because you felt that, you know, you're envious that they did better than you, whatever is better, that you term better.
Oh, as I say, I look at my family and I say we come from a history of single parents. I look at my parents' parents, and you have a lot of non-marriage partnerships. And then partners went on and had other families and stuff like that. And a lot of the hurt from that kind of thing lingers in to throughout. And because of that, you didn't get to know cousins and aunties and uncles until you were adults. Wasted so much time. And now as we
They didn't allow you to talk to the others, the other family.
To the other half. They know them people down.
There was no blended families.
No, blended.
Like that.
Thank God
like
in
this modern
country, we
time.
have blended families. But what we realize now is that these are part of the tribe that made you and formed you. And you know, they become so critical to you at this stage. At this stage. But sometimes, so if you find you're holding on to some old grudge, whether it's somebody in school or some family, or if you have a sister, a cousin, God forbid, a parent that you are not talking to, then you're really not understanding the people who made you who you are, for better or for worse. And the need to really appreciate and acknowledge that as part of your own evolution. I think that's so critical. It's so critical.
I know that's a difficult one for many, but I really wish, as we speak here, that, you know, those that affected can reconsider, redefine your past, and really look at, do we really want to go into our old age being bitter? You know?
I've seen too much of those same old discarded people. You know, they say the stone that was rejected became the cornerstone. Those old rejected people come back and being anchors. And you just have to swallow it hard. It's going down sideways, but you have to swallow it.
You know?
So do it before it has to be done to you.
Yeah.
You know? So Jennifer, the final point, the final step, this thing about staying on your path.
Yeah. I think staying on your path is really keeping focus, you know. But you have to know, you really have to know your destination, where you're heading. what you really want to do. And I repeat myself a lot when I say I do things in stages, you know. So my part now, so as with connections, you know, we say like we have the 50 to 60, the 61 to 70, the 71 to 80, and after 80, and how they say, and borrowed time.
The fourth stage, not borrowed time, the fourth stage.
I am a real, you know,
who you borrow it from?
using the local
who you borrow
language.
it from?
On your waving gallery. What do you say? Borrowed time or waving gallery? Anyway, I don't view it like that too. I don't view it like that. I look at, you know, what's my part? And my part, Terry, and for me, I have a clear part. And I understand that lots of things could happen. A lot of things could happen, which may be out of my control. So you really know that you're staying on your part, but you have to be aware that a lot of things could happen to you. So you put contingency, as we talk about contingency plans in a lot of things. And I also believe that being on a particular, whichever path you choose, you have to be realistic. There is no smooth, no path is just completely smooth. So you may be thrown off, but you have to know how to get back on. And to get back on is to be realistic. And for me, I don't think I should wait on something to happen to make a decision. My thing is, I know what I want. I know this is my part. And let me just put in it, that'll be your part, and not the children part. we tend to get sidetracked and bring other people on the path with us. And they don't want to be on the path with us, but we feel they have to be on the path with us. So we have to be realistic in doing that. No, this is our path, and we chose this path because of many reasons, for our own happiness, etc. But what happens? And we have to start thinking, what could happen? And if it does happen, what can we do? So you won't be shocked, you know, when something happened and it throw you off and you can't get back on, you know, that sort of thing, because you haven't prepared. And you know, Terry, and you are the one who always come with realistic things. And I must say this. We are this age in life. We have different stages in life. And we chat about this, Terry. We grew up knowing that, well, in my family and I think that we take care of the elders. You have to take care of the elders, no matter what. They are the ones who have, you know, all this story. Nothing, I'm not annoyed on that. But what we didn't look beyond that when we are now the elders. So I am grown up hearing and knowing that no matter what, we take care of your parents when you get old, or your aunt who live with you, whoever, the elders. But I don't think we really discussed it with our children. How they're thinking, you know, they're thinking on that, or our expectations of them. They're not different things like that. And now we are the elders, right? We may still have some parents alive, but we are the elders. Terry-Ann, and we expect, because our partner, we're a bit scared because we realize any day our peers around us, different situations, whether it's critical illness, whether it's death, whether it's homelessness, and I'm talking about who we've prepared themselves. And in those, our preparation is all money, yeah? and 10 not other things. So we have a fat, let me do it, Trini, we have a fat bank account going, so we think we all right, we don't need the children, we don't need anybody. So we got on our part. So we figure we could, our part line with money to take us along. And then things start to happen and we realize it is more than that. And we don't have it. And suddenly, Terry-Ann, because we never thought of these other situations, we find ourselves depressed, angry, because we feel that our children or loved ones or whoever should come with us on this path we are on. So my thing is, we have to not just say this is our path, but think of all the things that could happen to throw us off and that we can do to keep us on the path. And so I just had to bring in that because that's happening a lot around me. And I keep, reviewing actually, okay, at this stage, this is already happening. So what should I do? I still have health. Let me put this in place, things like that. So I just had to bring in that. Yeah.
No, it's real. It's real. And it's amazing. As you say, I'm realistic and I hear people.
No, you would more. I tend not to bring out certain things like that, but you more say it as it is.
It's part of life.
But this is one that, let me say, close to my heart. I feel
Jennifer,
I'm actually living it.
It's close to all of our hearts and we don't talk about it because the same children, when we were growing up, or our parents, what are they thinking for you? They grew up in colonial time. They have nothing called free education. So all they could think about is, look, all they had to take care of us in our old age because it had no NIS, it had nothing. We grew up with free education. So what was the priority for our children? Go to school, do the best you could do, get professional jobs, go away. And when you go away, we told the children, get a job and don't come back. We told them that. And so our children have grown and we, of course, were having a grand time on our second act. Remember, we were doing well, Jennifer. We were doing very well. And we did not think about this act. And now we want the children to amazingly do what we never put as a priority for them to do, which is be our nurses and our
and she says it's not money. So we don't want them, they don't want them money,
So you have enough money, and we have to now take the money and hand it over to other people to come into our homes to do whatever. And we don't like that because we don't trust them. And we do this, and we vex with the children, and we vex with the people that we've invested in. I think one of the things we have to do is realize our generation, our cohort has to realize that the close people, the tribe are our friends, and our children have different lives, very different lives, and they're probably not.
They have their part. They have their own part. Yeah.
And they are away, and we need to regroup around our friends. Probably not a lot of family because they probably passed on or in as shaky a position as us. And we have to look to each other. We have to look to each other and just accept that and continue. So, we've got about 3 minutes left, Jennifer. So we really, really hope that you, as we start this second half of the year, have an evolving mindset. Think of that flower unfolding. See those beautiful heliconias Jennifer has behind her? They would have been closed like this.
That's for my garden.
Eventually, they are opening, We have to evolve. It's not a radical change. We have to, from where we are now, we have to go forward, do better, be better. And Jennifer, we know in this second half of the year, we are going to be planning some, of course, events to make the evolution easier. So you're going to be hearing a lot about it as we go ahead. So until then, continue to evolve, redefine your past, acknowledge your purpose, appreciate your people, and stay on your path and understand your patterns. So
enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
Bye.
Bye.
50+ Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.